Maybe I wasn't meant to be a mom. I don't know. I love my kids, but right now I'm doing what I gotta do for them, so that makes me a bad mom. Hey, it's a bad mom. But at the end of the day, do I have any charges on me? No, I don't. My kids have never been taken away from me, thank God. My kids have never been taken away from me. I didn't do nothing to your dad. My ex-husband did that, not me. And then my kids' room, but they don't stay with me right now. And then my restroom. I mean, growing up, I was always visiting prisons because my dad's best friend was in prison. And that's the only type of area that I really knew. And then, like, dating people in prison was all I wanted.
Ashley Nicole Trevino was an internet star who rose to fame in 2019 by posting about her personal relationships on social media. But what really catapulted her follower count was when she started creating content that framed her as a prison wife. This was a niche so distinctive that it drew millions of viewers on TikTok. Her one-of-a-kind content, which she tagged as Inmate Hopper, in which she shared details of her relationships with men in prison, helped her gain more followers. She would typically show what life was like as a prisoner's wife, how she dealt with long-distance relationships, and how they made things work. But everything soon came crashing down when people started to realize that maybe she was just a weird one. After all, she has managed to be married and divorced many times with men in prison. However, this was not particularly a surprise. Ash Trevino was already famous for being a bad mother. She failed to provide her children with basic needs, exposed them to indecent content, and even consumed alcohol live on stream while they were present. By 2024, Ash Trevino already had over 20 cases with Child Protective Services. While all this was going on, and it became clear that her followers at this point were basically just haters, she was arrested in Venus, Texas, on 2 felony counts. Things got even worse when people started to question whether she was actually more shady than they thought, after a later incident in 2025 showed that her crew was arrested for unlawful carry of weapons. In addition, one of her associates, D. Kane, whose real name is Josiah Kane de la Fuente, was arrested after an incident at a restaurant, according to the San Antonio Police Department. Other individuals who were seen with her were also arrested. Trevino has said she paid to bond them out of jail. The aggregate of all of these is that Ash Trevino is nothing but a lol cow, and in this video, we will detail her journey and how she fell from grace so quickly. There is no Ash Trevino story though without first starting with her early marriage. Born on January 17, 1989 in Texas, Ashley graduated from high school in 2007 and then married her high school sweetheart, Israel Grez, who fathered her 2 daughters. Around this time, she built a healthy social media presence, posting photos of her kids, selfies, and her struggles as a mother. Her Instagram from that era was made up of family photos, Snapchat selfies, and the occasional rant about Israel, particularly when it came to co-parenting, child support, and the time he allegedly spent with the kids. People could relate to all of this because it was the kind of raw, messy, real-life struggle that people actually saw themselves in. And the personal growth that came with it was something others could celebrate. Ash separated from Grez in 2015, with the divorce finalizing in June 2017, making her a single mother of 2 at just 27 years old. During this period, she began posting quotes suggesting the relationship was over and that Grez was a cheater. If you believed what she said, Israel had gone behind her back and started a whole new family with another woman while they were still married. In her next Instagram post, while posting the customary quote, she wrote, "So true, good luck to them both." The divorce was clearly painful for her. She posted a pouty selfie, writing that it was a bittersweet moment, said goodbye to the last name she had carried, and seemed to be processing the end of the only relationship she had known since she was a teenager. And now, she was going to be focusing on herself, saying, "Gonna do me from now on and focus on what's important." However, that sympathy dries up fast once you start looking at what came next, because instead of processing her grief in therapy or through her support system, Ash went an entirely different route, one that would eventually define her entire public identity. And before the divorce was even finalized, she had already met the man who would become her next serious partner, getting a tattoo of a new boyfriend's initials on her arm within 6 months of dating him. That relationship lasted 18 months. Ash did not do well alone, and she seemed to sprint from one relationship to the next with barely any time to breathe in between. By August of 2019, she was about to make a decision that would define everything that followed. Setting things on a very specific, weird course, Ash Trevino entered a strange new era of her life when she started dating prison inmates, and she did not just dip her toe in. She dove headfirst and kept going back for more.
Hey, yo, you not paying attention?
What?
What are you doing?
What, Eli? What?
Focus on me. You treat me like the side piece, like I'm Carlos or something.
I can't focus on you whenever your gift gallery is a C5 level. I'm A1, baby.
In August of 2019, she announced her engagement to Isaiah Gonzalez, a man who was serving 45 years in prison for his role in the robbery in Mohammed Hashimi, a gas station owner and father of 7 who was on April 18, 2010. Isaiah was just 15 years old when he helped plan and execute the robbery with 3 others, trapping Hashimi on the road, stealing the cash he was taking to the bank. According to the victim's daughter, he drove while her dad was in the car. When Ash reacted to some of Isaiah's crimes, she showed an attitude of not caring. After all, she was not the one who committed the crime.
I didn't do nothing to your dad. My ex-husband did that, not me. So Isaiah did it on accident too. He didn't mean to your dad. Isaiah didn't mean to your dad. That was an accident. Bro, don't come with me when it comes to Isaiah. Don't come at me when it comes to Isaiah. Isaiah was my first love and will always be my love. Literally, justice for Isaiah.
Ash, however, posted about him as if he were a prize. She wrote on Instagram that people would judge them, but she did not care. That he was hers, and she was his, and that she could not wait to become Mrs. Gonzalez. As though it were a custom for her, she also got a tattoo after marrying him. "You all finally got my tattoos I have been wanting! Our last name and our wedding date." This was also the moment she began taking her daughters, who were just 10 and 8 years old at the time, on regular prison visits to see their incarcerated new stepfather, and referring to him in Instagram captions as a daddy. "We had a great visit today and so blessed that both our girls were able to go see daddy. You can see the happiness on his face. Our first family picture. Only one more glass visit. Then he gets to hug us all." This was a man who had helped another girl's father just 9 years prior. In a caption of one of the prison photos, she wrote, "Today we had the best visit with my husband and our daddy. It's always hard leaving him behind. Love all the time we get him and his smile says it all. Just a daddy and his baby girl. It's sad when she runs back for one more hug before we leave. But their bond is unbreakable." What made the situation even more alarming was a 2020 Instagram post in which Ash openly admitted she had known Isaiah since he was 12, writing that he was sitting on the front bench at her church during her senior party in 2007 when she was 18. She also confirmed in a video that she had visited him in juvenile detention when he was first incarcerated at 15, gave him her parents' address so they could write letters, and had been in some form of contact with him long before their public engagement.
I knew of him because they came to our church when he was 9. I was 15. We didn't do nothing. We had no kind of communication like that or nothing. When he got locked up, I cried because he was only 15. Well, me and one of his friends, with his mom's permission, went to go visit him. And I left the kids with my parents. It was behind the TV because you had to pick up a phone and it was a screen. And so I was just like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he's like, I'm good. He's like, "I want to write you." I said, "Okay, well, here's my parents' address." He wrote me to my parents' house. I still have the letters to this day.
When asked about the obvious age gap in the timeline, Ash shrugged it off, saying they had lost contact for 9 years. But by her own math, she had been in contact with him for the first year he was locked up, which means she was exchanging letters with a 15-year-old suspect while she was a married 21-year-old. The marriage lasted about 18 months before she casually announced the divorce in October 2020, citing problems in their relationship. By then, she had already gotten multiple tattoos of his name and their wedding date. After Isaiah came Ash Trevino, another convicted this one sentenced to 25 years for stabbing Lewis Maston, while 49-year-old grandfather who had simply tried to break up a fight outside a Texas nightclub in 2015. Ash married Noy in April 2022, and by June 2024, she was already announcing she was going to divorce him without needing his permission. She kept his last name because, as she said, it had become part of her brand.
Period. We're about to be divorced. I'm about to cry. Just kidding.
Then there was Jesse Martinez, a man Ash described as having a charge of injury to a rather than cruelty, as if the rebranding made it acceptable.
"Yo, what's up? How you doing though? What's up? How you doing? What's
I don't have
good?
time for you.
What's good?"
I don't have time for you right now.
She celebrated Jesse's prison release in May 2024 by decorating a hotel room and live streaming their entire first night together on TikTok, telling the audience of thousands that they had a baby to make.
What does it say? What does it say? AJ, look at the basket. Welcome, Jesse. Be good to her, please. Oh.
Their relationship was filled with toxicity and relationship dramas, and people started to suggest that maybe she was doing everything for show. There was one time he wanted to invite him over, but then her chat informed her he had been using her to chase clout, so she opted not to invite him over anymore.
Okay. Yeah, he's coming to Texas and he wants to link up just for a bit. I shouldn't because he did me so dirty, but he is still my ex and my friend. And so I'm not a mean person and he needs to wash his clothes. So
Their in-person relationship lasted just 2 weeks before Ash announced a breakup, blaming the flood of women in his DMs once she gave him a cheap phone and let him have social media. The irony of someone who built a brand on strangers' attention, complaining about others wanting attention, was completely lost on her.
There was another reason why we broke up, but I don't want to speak on that on here. But yeah, so he let TikTok get to him, and a lot of females were in his inbox. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to trust him. I wish him the best, and like I said, I will never bring nobody else home from prison, because that one right there, like I say, it hurts. When I say it hurts, it hurt. Now he's living his life, you know. I see him on my FYP here and there with his girlfriend, and I just scroll up, you know, because it's like I said, the memories are still there. They're always going to be there.
The most disturbing chapter of the inmate era came when she started streaming her phone calls with Francisco Montero, a man who had been convicted of 2 girls, 19-year-old Ivana Cortez and her sister Elizabeth Juarez, on March 28, 2018.
Guys, look what my boyfriend sent me.
A clip soon surfaced on TikTok that suggested that Francisco's wife knew of what Francisco had done.
You have a good day. Okay, I'm gonna. Where you going? I'm gonna go to bed. Yeah, you're not doing what you need to do, and there's no point in talking. We're not together. I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't want to talk to you right now.
We're not together.
No, baby, we're not.
Ash, on the other hand, said on her live stream and actually laughed out loud when someone in the comments said the victims deserved rest in peace. She also tried to convince people that Francisco was totally innocent.
Because you can't sit there and say he did it if he didn't do it. So you don't know for sure if he did it or he didn't do it. And everybody was like, oh, he did it, he did it, he did it, he did it. Have you read the story?
When confronted about the fact that he had 2 teenage girls around the same age as her own daughters, Ash shrugged and instead tried to justify Francisco's actions.
As people would come in here and spam, rip to so-and-so and put their names. And mind you, this is my life. This is my stuff. I don't want the victims' names on my stuff ever. I wasn't there when that happened. That was like, what, 3 years ago? 5 years ago? I don't even remember what year it was.
Many failed to understand why Ash Trevino sought out men like that, and the fact that she was comfortable with a man such as Francisco says a lot about her. One of the commenters on the TikTok post says, "He's a of 2 young girls. You all need to focus on that. Ash is sicker than I thought. Wow, the fact she's so desperate to talk to people who do stuff like that is disturbing." Their relationship ended not because he was a triple with an ongoing drug trafficking case, but because he was married to another woman in the system, and Ash found out. Meanwhile, it did not take long for her to move on, saying she already had another guy in her corner shortly after she broke up with Francisco, not because of his crimes, but because she was getting hated on social media.
I blocked Francisco for good.
Okay, then that's one good thing.
I was tired of getting all the hate from the people, you know, in the comments or whatever. Like, I'm really not a bad person, but
We need a new boo. Is there a new boo in the works? Because we don't, on to the next, okay? On to the next.
there is.
She later explained her preference to Perez Hilton, who interviewed her to understand why she dated inmates.
I've always been with inmates since 2019.
Why? What would a psychologist say is the reasoning behind that?
To be honest, growing up, I was always visiting prisons because my dad's best friend was in prison. And that's the only type of area that I really knew. And then, like, dating people in prison was all I wanted.
Really?
Next, she moved on to dating Cash, a rapper serving a 6-month prison sentence for theft. And that was the moment she started listening to his music a lot. Her relationship with Cash unveiled the amount of money Ash had been spending on her inmate boyfriends, as Cash came forward after his release and said that Ash had funneled approximately $40,000 to him over 90 to 120 days, sending money to his family, buying him clothes, and funding his commissary, all while he admitted on camera that he was never actually attracted to her and had been using her the entire time. But of course, Ash denied all of this.
Mind you, I've never sent him $40,000. I would never send him more than I ever sent Isaiah. He got raped, okay? In prison.
This was very strange because, as we would later see, Ash was barely taking proper care of her children. There was also this time she confirmed he had spent more than $10,000 on an inmate she was dating.
Literally in 1 year, for my ex-husband, the one that I'm talking about right now that I got married to in 2019, because I just loved him so much, I literally spent $10,000 in 1 year on him. Like, not even a full year, because we weren't together, like, married a full year. But, like, from the time that I did start spending money on him, I literally... Plus, I left him with a couple thousand on his books when we separated. Because I promised him I wouldn't leave him without.
But Ash's behavior with inmates was really just the gateway to a much longer list of problems. Because while all of this was going on, there were 2 children at home watching their mother pour everything she had into men who were using her. The controversies surrounding Ash Trevino are not limited to her dating life. Some of them crossed into territory that had nothing to do with her taste in men and everything to do with her character. There was a time when she dated a 19-year-old named Santos, a content creator and club promoter based in North Texas. And the reason this became so explosive is that she had only found out about Santos because her own daughter had shown her his account as her internet crush. Rather than giving her daughter a normal mom reaction, Ash immediately slid into Santos's DMs, started going live with him, openly flirted with him, asked if she could taste things she should not be asking a stranger on a live stream, and eventually released a song called Nunu, which described their chemistry and lyrics. The song also contained lyrics that included asking Santos how her private parts smelled, and his supposed answer being that they smelled well.
You wanna know how it smells? Ask Santos. You know it smells well.
They had previously made a video in which Ash asked Santos how her Nunu felt.
How does that feel? Just kidding.
Like the ocean.
It's just the hell of it.
When Santos showed up at her house in December 2024, and the police were called due to the volume of viewer reports, officers confirmed on stream that Santos was not 22, as he had been claiming. He was 19 years old, the exact same age Ash had been when she gave birth to her first daughter. Ash's immediate response to learning that her boyfriend was 19 was neither shock nor concern. She simply looked at the officer and said, "But he's not drinking."
Ashley,
Yes.
just so you know, this gentleman is 19 years old. Okay? So
But he's not drinking.
I had a reason to be here.
Yeah.
Okay?
That sentence tells you everything you need to know about where her moral compass is pointed. Ash later claimed she was not a and had no idea Santos was 19, despite a slip mid-explanation, in which she said she always thought he was 20, immediately corrected herself to 24, and had previously admitted she had seen his ID showing the year 2000.
I've never been with nobody under the age of 18, so do not call me a I'm not. Santos, I never knew Santos was 19. He showed me his military ID that said 2000. I never knew he was actually 19. I always thought he was 24.
Her daughter had watched all of this play out in public. The same daughter whose internet crush her mother had stolen was now watching her mom live stream with him. Further, Ash made a video justifying his relationship with Santos.
Because I'm tired of people saying, like, you're 35, he's 19. Okay, but at the end of the day, like, I'm a female, he's a male. Like, there's a difference, too, on that. When you have power over somebody, you want to blame the female so much, and the female always gets blamed for everything. But what about the guy? What about the guy who has money and has everything handed to them? Why don't they get any blame? But because I'm older, right?
When she appeared on Camila Ahu's podcast, and the topic of Santos's age came up, she let out a loud, hysterical laugh as though there was absolutely nothing wrong with everything that was going on.
Santos, he actually lied about his age. He said he was 22, but he's actually 19.
Then when confronted about the whole thing on the Camila Aho podcast, Ash admitted to sleeping with Santos on 2 separate occasions, then immediately followed it up by saying that if someone is over 18, their age does not really matter to her, which is a sentence that reveals more than she intended it to. The most incredible thing about this whole relationship was that Santos never felt the same way towards Ash as she did. When he later appeared on the same podcast and said he had only ever got together with Ash because he was trying to troll her.
What happened? What truly happened in that situation? How did that end up happening?
I was just being the troll I am, you know, and you know, I'm a little flirt sometimes, so.
Okay, so you were flirting with Ash Trevino.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What? As trolling.
Yeah, I was, you know.
So is that something you normally do? You just troll? You just flirt with random people in your lives?
Not really like that, but it's just like I improvise from what I just match energies.
Okay.
He also said that the craziest DM he had ever received was a picture of Ash as Nunu.
What's the craziest DM you've ever received?
Oh my gosh.
Are there a lot of them that you're thinking about?
I just Miss Nunu.
Oh, okay.
Miss Nunu showed me the Nunu. I need water.
On DM?
Beyond that subtle tendency, there was also racism, which she did not try particularly hard to hide. She once made a video complaining that her dental office had been sold to Indian owners, stating bluntly that she was not going to work under any Indians, and that she had chosen to leave because of that.
I worked every day, Monday through Thursday. Then they changed the owners, and I knew it was going to happen. Then we got Indian owners. Yes, I said that. I was mad at my doctor for selling, okay? I cried almost every day that I was at that job because I did not like it.
The most jarring example came in February 2025, when she got into a confrontation with Zara Hashimi, one of the daughters of Muhammad Hashimi, the very man her first prison husband had helped. Ash told Zara on stream that her dad deserved everything he got, and then brought up the September 11th attacks in a rant so racist and unhinged that her own daughter came into the room and begged her to turn the stream off. She muted the microphone, told her daughter to leave the room, and then kept going. The audacity of mocking the victim's grieving daughter on a public platform in front of tens of thousands of viewers while your own children are in the house is something that would end most people's careers before they even started. For Ash, it was just another Tuesday. And what drove all of this was something even darker that had been visible the whole time, but people were only just starting to fully connect with it. It did not take long for Ash Trevino to earn a reputation as a bad mother. The clips accumulated fast, and each one was worse than the last. There was a time when people noticed that her daughters were sleeping on a single air mattress on the floor in a barely furnished room, even though Ash was constantly on live stream unboxing Balenciaga slippers, Louis Vuitton bags, and a BMW, bragging that $3,000 was like dirt to her.
Classy, you know?
And then my kids' room, but they don't stay with me right now. And then my restroom, and then my room.
She would also often ignore her children, who would ask her for food and other necessities, just so she could fight with people online. She would sometimes cook only for herself and lie that her daughters did not eat that kind of food.
I cook for only me because my daughters don't eat this kind of food, you know? So it's like I cook a lot, bro. Like, it's not even right, bro.
Meanwhile, she had been making somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a day on TikTok live streams and gifts alone, and by her own account had made $12,000 in a single 2.5-hour stream. None of that money went toward beds for her teenagers.
The most I've ever made on TikTok live was $12,000.
In one sitting?
Yes.
In one live?
Yes.
How many hours?
Like 2.5.
You made 12 grand in 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
I believe bagging fake, y'all. And her kids still don't have a bed. So what's that funny? Yeah, that's funny. Nothing's that funny when your kids don't have a damn bed. I'll tell you that right now.
Camila pointed this out, and get this. Ash laughed when she called her out for refusing to provide basic amenities to her children. When people called this out, Ash gave a different excuse every time. She said the girls were usually at their grandparents'. She said she was going to get them beds for Christmas. She said she did not know whether to get bunk beds or one shared bed. She said she was working on it. When Camila Aho, a content creator who flew Ash and her daughters out to Los Angeles for a podcast interview, offered on camera to buy the girls' beds before they left, Ash's daughter confirmed on the spot that she did not have a bed at her mother's house. Ash started giggling.
Do you have beds?
Well, I don't live with my mom.
But at your mom's house?
No.
Camila reportedly sent Ash $3,000 via Apple Pay and specifically asked her to send the links to the furniture the girls wanted.
I'm going to give you money for, I want a bed, 2 mattresses, 2 of them. I want a headboard and 2 nightstands. I'm going to order that before you leave this house today. And I'm going to insert the clip of the receipt.
By February, the daughters confirmed on the podcast that the promised beds had never arrived. Ash then went on live to say she didn't want Camilla to buy the bed for her daughters.
Like right now, she did ask me, did your kids pick out the bed set? I said, I don't want you to buy it. I said, there's too much going on. I don't need you to buy it. I said, they're already saying that I did CC fraud on your card. I don't want nothing to do with that.
She did not cook for her children. She would order them food or tell them to use her card for DoorDash, which she framed as generous, as though removing herself entirely from feeding your own children is a parenting flex. Moreover, she often filmed her conflict scenes while the children were in the house, thereby exposing them to violence. She also would consume alcohol on stream, despite being the sole caregiver of her children. She herself even admitted that she did not care about her children during this period.
Some think that you're a bad mother. How does that make you feel?
It makes me sad, but because, I mean, I see where they're coming from, because last year was one of my crazy years. And so I really didn't care about my kids' feelings, and I was living the single life. I was, trying to cover it up with drinking all the time, partying all the time, so of course.
In one clip, she was dancing around the room to the new song when her daughter called out that she had just thrown up. Ash turned around, accused her daughter of lying, and went back to dancing.
Mama just threw up.
You just threw up? Why?
Mama just threw up.
You're lying.
Let me throw up.
It smell like it or what? I'm just kidding.
Mama just threw up. Why are you dancing? Mom, I threw up. Why are you dancing? She's dancing? Yes.
In another clip, her younger daughter had a burn bad enough that a friend on the phone with Ash told her to take the child to urgent care immediately. Ash's response was that she had to get up early the next day, so she wouldn't be able to get an Uber.
Ash.
Yes.
I really think you should take her to urgent care if it is bad.
Then I'm gonna have to get a freaking Uber.
Okay. I mean, just because you have to get an Uber, then you shouldn't take her to the urgent care.
I know, but I have to get up early.
One of the commenters said she was refusing to take them to the hospital because it might trigger a CPS report. She doesn't want to take her to urgent care because it will trigger mandated reporters to call CPS. When her daughter was sick and needed to go to the hospital, Ash stayed home, told her audience she was also feeling unwell, and sent her mother to take the child instead. She then went live to explain why she could not be there. She also once told her live stream that if she found out one of her daughters had lied about her age to sleep with an older man, she would not call the police, because she had done the same thing at that age and understood the impulse. Ash admitted to her eldest daughter, Haley, not as an act of discipline, but because she was jealous of the attention Israel gave his own child over his wife. She said it with the same casual energy you would use to describe forgetting to buy milk.
I was so mad at her. Like, I feel like he loved her more than he loved me, and so, like, I took my anger out on her. Like, she doesn't even remember that.
You felt like you were wrong?
I was a young mom.
At one point, while discussing the situation later, she clarified that she had not daughter because she never left bruises. That was her bar for acceptable parenting. Her approach to parenting also included keeping her adult toy charging in plain sight in the living area, and when her daughter picked it up and asked what it was, Ash asked the live stream audience what they should name it, with her daughter still in the room. She filmed herself in a bar kissing a man with tongue while her daughter sat nearby, unable to do anything about it. She streamed herself in bed with another man in a way that left thousands of viewers uncomfortable, with her daughters potentially watching from another room. She doxed her own home address on stream, inviting people to come fight her, and then acted shocked when a woman actually showed up to her house, at which point the daughters were inside and Ash called her father for help. When it got unbearable, she had to call the police.
My name is Ash Trevino.
Ashley, your date of birth?
1/17/89.
I can go and notify the police, okay? If anything changes, just go ahead and give us a call back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
We're an officer dispatched out there as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The Thanksgiving 2024 incident summarized everything. She drove her daughters 8 hours to El Paso to stay with a woman she had met on TikTok, told them to order DoorDash while she went bar hopping, got into a physical altercation with another TikToker, drank and drove after streaming in a bar, doxed her friend's home address live on stream, and then had to watch a domestic incident play out in front of her children after the friends showed up at the house.
Yeah, I know. You know what? It's not your fault.
See it. The girls got to see it. I have witnesses now.
He literally pushed her in her face. I seen it.
What really shocked people was the fact that she had no problem with her daughter witnessing what had just happened. Someone said, "The the girls got to see it. Like it's a treasured moment. Kids seeing DV is the last thing you want them around. Her younger daughter was sick with a fever by the time they got back. Ash was still live streaming. She was standing at the kitchen counter eating fries. And it's crazy because all her antics so far have negatively affected her daughter's lives. On the Camila Aho podcast, her eldest daughter Haley said that she had lost friends because of her mother's live streams, that other kids' parents did not feel comfortable sending their children to her house because the address had been leaked online, and that she would rather go back to her old life before any of this happened.
Wait, next question. How do you handle discussions with friends who are aware of your mother's online persona? Because I know that ain't easy.
Yeah, so when they found out about my mom, some people didn't like it, obviously. And one of my friends...
She said obviously.
Ash's response to her daughter saying that publicly on camera was to suggest that the other kids were just jealous of the lifestyle she provided. By early 2025, her eldest daughter had moved into her grandparents' home permanently. Ash explained this by saying Haley was spoiled and that raising teenagers was hard.
And then, me and the girls are just gonna clean up and chill. Well, they're not gonna clean. I'm gonna clean. Let's actually put that out there. My kids don't clean. You know, I think I'm so mean to them. My kids don't do nothing. I wish they did. They're so spoiled. They're so spoiled, you guys.
And then there was the time she missed her youngest daughter's birthday entirely because she had a photo shoot and a divorce party scheduled that weekend, telling her audience she just could not reschedule. She later cried about how sad she was to leave, and then, in the same breath, said she only went to Haley's last birthday because it was her sweet 16, implying that other birthdays were optional. Apparently, her youngest daughter's birthday was not worth canceling for. It was not surprising then, when she picked up her camera and confessed on a live stream that the responsibility of being a mother was just too hard for her to handle, which is perhaps the most honest thing she has ever said publicly.
Maybe I wasn't meant to be a mom, I don't know. I love my kids, but right now I'm doing what I gotta do for them, so that makes me a bad mom. Hey.
What was building in the background through all of this was something that even the CPS system could not completely ignore forever, and that chapter was the one that finally started to draw real consequences. All of Ash Trevino's behavior on and off camera eventually produced a paper trail, and a long one at that. By late 2024, Ash had accumulated over 20 open CPS cases against her, most of them generated by viewers who had watched her live streams and reported what they saw. She treated this number like a trophy, regularly bringing it up to prove that nothing had happened to her.
She's a bad mom, but at the end of the day, do I have any charges on me? No, I don't. My kids have never been taken away from me, thank God. My kids have never been taken away from me. My kids have always been with me, and a lot of y'all spread rumors and say that CPS took my kids from me. Baby, CPS has never taken my kids. Yes, I've had like 20 CPS cases. They dismissed them all because you know why? My kids are in good hands. My kids are taken care of. My kids do not need, they don't want for nothing.
Rather than expressing any concern about having 24 child welfare investigations opened against her, she would mock the people who called CPS, reminding them that they needed actual proof, as if the body camera footage of her own live streams did not constitute exactly that.
Like, you do understand when you call CPS, you have to have actual proof that they're in an unfit condition, right? Like, you really have to have proof that my kids are really being not taken care of. You do understand that, right? For those of y'all that love to call CPS on me, y'all do understand. You have to have proof.
CPS had already been to the house so many times that Ash's parents, who lived down the street, had begun to be investigated alongside her, because the children were being kept with the grandparents to keep them out of the line of fire. Then came the San Antonio incident in January 2025, which made everything worse. Ash traveled to San Antonio for a meetup with her streaming group, including Santos, Brianna Olsen, and a content creator named DK, who was on probation. The group got kicked out of a steakhouse, was refused entry at multiple establishments because most of them were under 21, and ended up at the Rainforest Cafe, where someone showed up to confront Ash after tracking her location from her livestream. When the police arrived at the Rainforest Cafe, they found that multiple members of the group were armed, and DK was arrested for having a firearm while on probation, a violation that could potentially result in life in prison under Texas law. What Ash said next was the part that shocked even the people who thought they had seen everything from her. She admitted on a live stream that she had asked both Brianna and another person in the group to claim her bag as their own because the bag allegedly contained a firearm, and she did not want a gun charge to jeopardize her open CPS case. She framed it as a test of friendship, saying that she had an open CPS case and could not afford to go to jail, so she asked them to take the blame. When neither of them agreed to do it, she turned around and called them fake friends.
Like Bree and Violet, I was like, if y'all take the blame for my bag, will y'all please, I'll bail y'all out. They were like, no, I got custody battles going on. No, I got custody battles going on. I said, well, I have an open CPS case on me. And I was like, if I go to jail, like, I can literally lose my kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I have a custody battle going on. But look at them now. And that's how I knew they were not true friends. And ever since that day is whenever I said, I'm cutting ties with them.
Then on December 17th, 2024, officers from the Venus Police Department, who already knew her address, approached her in her front yard and arrested her on 2 felony warrants that had apparently been active since 2019. She was charged with healthcare fraud between $2,500 and $30,000, and with securing the execution of a document by deception in the same dollar range. Both state jail felonies under Texas law, each carrying up to 2 years in a state jail facility. The charges were tied to her years working as a receptionist at a dental office in Arlington, Texas, a job she had held for nearly 7 years, and did not leave until the December 23rd, 2024, which means the office continued employing her for 5 years after the conduct she was charged for allegedly took place. She was only in a holding cell for about 14 hours before bonding out, and she was back on her phone live streaming her experience almost immediately afterwards, describing how the arrest went down.
Anyways, they came 3 deep, and I go over there not realizing anything because I didn't know anything. And he was like, do you know you have an active warrant? I said, or a felony warrant. I said, a warrant for what? I haven't done nothing. He's like, I don't know. I don't have no info on that. It's out of Waxahachie. And I'm like, I started thinking in my head, like, what did I do fraud on? Like, when he told me fraud, I'm like thinking, like, an active felony warrant on fraud for what? Like, I literally was thinking, like, what the hell? I haven't worked in a year. So I'm like, are you sure you got the right person? Gave him 2 of my names that I have. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, he goes, well, let me get it confirmed. They didn't even have it confirmed.
Then she talked about the jail toilet as disgusting, complaining that they tried to give her a peanut butter sandwich and saying she was blowing up on TikTok and wanted to do interviews. The first thing she said on camera after being released was that she looked cute in the handcuffs. The second thing she said was that haters were preying on her downfall and she was going to fight the charges. The third thing she said was that she was going to the casino next week and needed to confirm whether she was allowed to travel out of state. By early 2025, Ash Trevino had 2 felony charges pending: a CPS record with over 20 cases attached to her name, a daughter who had moved out of her home, a son of her former friend potentially facing a life sentence connected to a night she organized, and a fan base that was carefully watching to see what her next move would be. She announced a pregnancy in April last year as the final act of attention-seeking in this particular chapter, posting a positive test in an ultrasound with the first name listed first, when every real ultrasound lists the last name first. Now, people simply watch Ash Trevino's videos just to have a laugh. She is different from the woman many people originally clicked on, the relatable struggling single mom trying to figure out life after divorce. Instead, she chased internet fame, fell headfirst into everything that followed, and is still falling. After her arrest, she would later come on live to say that sometimes everything she did was for show.
I live my best life, and to be honest, I have a very amazing family, and I'm blessed, you know. And so that's why I'm saying, like, what y'all see on the internet is not actually who you know out here, because that's not who I am as a person. You know, I have respect and all that. But like I said, sometimes I gotta give y'all a show and make y'all believe that I'm just this evil person, this bad mom, this bad friend, you know, all that. When in reality, I'm not. I'm a really good, humble person, actually. And another thing, my window's fixed and my door's painted. So, like I said, when you're able to fix it right away because, you know, I'm blessed, I can do that, I do it.
Now, people simply watch Ash Trevino's videos just to have a laugh. That is why you would find her videos have an insane amount of comments, but they are mostly just trolls or negative ones, such as this. She's so unfunny that it's funny. She is different from that woman. Many people clicked on her content because they could relate to it. Instead, she tried to chase internet fame, but fell into things that quickly took a dark turn for her.